Hi everyone, this is Graham Allen and I'm going to be doing the Vinyl Community 2024 tag that Rob Walker has very kindly put together. 20 questions. Rob's got a great channel, fantastic guy based up and around Manchester, Oldham I think it is. Really superb guy, and don't need to say any more about him because everyone's jumping on this thread. Okay, so straight on to it, and I'm going to be reading from an iPad, so forgive me. Number one, favourite record you purchased in 2023. This was a German band called Tritonus. They are a keyboard-driven prog trio from the mid to late 70s, only 2 albums. And I found this when I was in Amsterdam, really excited to get it. Just terrific album. So that started a bit of a rabbit hole of German and European keyboard trios and duos. So Tritonus. Next, the last record you bought in 2023 arrived just about Christmas time, and it's not on vinyl. It's another keyboard trio instrumental from Germany called Cannabis India. This is 1970s, but put out in 2009 from rare tapes that were found in a studio in Germany. Called the SWF, which is Südwest Funk Studios, SWF, from 1973. Fantastic Hammond-driven music, if you like that kind of thing. A band or singer who released 2 or more albums in the same year. I'm cheating a little bit, like a lot of people on this. So I've gone with Jan Hammer, who is on this album. He guests on this, David Earl Johnson, Time Is Free, but it's co-written with Jan Hammer, the keyboardist from Mahavishnu Orchestra, and of course went on to work with Jeff Beck. This came out in 1977, and again, he's featured. It's the Jeff Beck with the Jan Hammer group, 1977, fantastic album. If you like Minnie Moe playing, then Jan Hammer's your guy. These were both from 1977. So he's kind of a group co-leader in both these albums. Okay. If you could only listen to music from one decade, which decade would you choose? For me, 1970s, absolutely, kind of no doubt about that. That's really when sort of prog rock and jazz fusion, which are my 2 favourite genres, were at their absolute peak. So no doubt about it, 1970s for me. Show a record by a band or singer from Manchester. So I couldn't find anything from Manchester, but pretty sure Rob's from Oldham, and in fact somebody else has shown this. Pardon me. Barclay James Harvest are from Oldham. This is one of their later 1980s output, which I actually really like. A lot of people don't like it. They ditched the sort of Hammond organ and the Mellotron for more sort of synths, and actually I really like it. Mellow album, Eyes of the Universe, Barclay James Harvest. Which band or singer did you listen to the most in 2023? I really struggled with this because I go through phases, I'm sure like everyone else, where I'll buy a new album, kind of play it a fair bit. In fact, I try not to overplay it. But again, another of the German early 70s keyboard duos. So Hammond organ, a little bit of Moog synthesizer, and just a drummer. Bass played on the bass pedals on the organ. Wonderful band called 69. This is their only studio album, Circle of the Crayfish, but absolutely wonderful, overdriven, crunching John Lord style Hammond, if you like Deep Purple. Great organ sound on this. And there was a live album as well, same thing, released from cold tapes and things from studio sessions, but wonderful album. Show 7 7-inch singles. Okay, here we go. I've tried to make these quite quite varied. So first of all, Bill Bruford, quite a rare one, Hell's Bells from his One of a Kind album. It's an EP. One of the first band I ever saw live after the fire, this is One Reel for You, One Reel for Me. This is 1979. I saw them at Lancaster University, and they had a mid-70s, very proggy, organ-drenched album, but went synth pop in the late 70s, early 80s, but were very good. I recently went to the ABBA show in Stratford. It's the, people will know, it's the 3D holograms, and it was absolutely incredible. It was so good. I got another ticket about a week later and went to the same show. It was absolutely incredible. I love ABBA. My favorite album is The Visitors by them. And I love the kind of mysterious element to some of the lyrics, which this one has, The Day Before You Came, ABBA. Next, couldn't leave this off, real rarity, Brain Salad Surgery Snippets. This was a free flexi disc with the NME from 1973, just before Christmas, before the album came out. It was November actually, and this was a kind of taster for the album that was free with the NME. Absolutely delighted to have that. Christmas we just had, and I always loved this. It was an unusual single. It was Chris Squire and Alan White from Yes, Run with the Fox. Really good, catchy sort of prog pop song, which, just fantastic. And Chris Squire's bass as ever, really impressive. Mike Oldfield, I love this. This has got Maggie Riley on vocals. It was called To France. Just wonderful vocal performance. And in fact, one of the things I love on this, there's a instrumental called In the Pool, which is very unusual. Just a very stripped back, but wonderful instrumental track with a typical Mike Oldfield sort of really good guitar hook. So really enjoyed that. Last one is a real rarity. Prog in the kind of mid-80s was so out of fashion, and there was a band, actually they were from somewhere near Manchester, called Darga Band, and they had a sort of keyboard player, drummer and singer bass player, which again was unusual just to have a sort of keyboard driven band back then. Just a wonderful little slab of kind of neo-prog from, I think it's 84, and it's on Rutland Records. It's actually 1980. So I beg your pardon, 1980, Darga Band. Okay, who's coming to your party? Choose 4 music-related people to come to an imaginary dinner party, past or present. Who would you invite? I got these names pretty quickly, and I've written them down. I can't find my book. Here it is. So I've got, first of all, had to be Jaco Pastorius, one of my favourite musicians, unfortunately long past, 1987. People will probably know, absolute bass genius, virtuoso, but also, I mean, he did have a lot of mental health problems, but fascinating guy, very, very driven, true musical genius. As is the second, another fretless bass player, Mick Kahn from Japan, and went on to do some fusion work. Very unusual bass player, kind of these rubbery upside down bass lines on fretless, playing in a kind of pop band at one point, Japan. Obviously they went on to become more art rocky, punky, but incredible bass player. Unfortunately, again, died very young and actually ended up training as a psychotherapist. Really interesting guy. Read his a biography of him. Fascinating guy. Again, sort of a genius, but unlike Jaco, I think Mick Kahn was just completely sort of self-tutored and really didn't realise just what a genius he was. That's one of the things. Number 3, Bill Bruford, drummer from Yes, King Crimson, UK. Just a very, if anyone's heard him interviewed, really kind of intelligent, arch, witty guy. In fact, he's done a PhD related to drumming in the last probably 10 years or so. He doesn't play any more drums. And actually a bandmate of his for number 4, John Wetton, again, rest in peace. lead singer, King Crimson, in a ton of bands in the early 70s, Family, Wishbone Ash, went on to sort of mega fame with Asia. And the reason I mention him is I got to know him and incredibly ended up having sort of coffee with him on a number of occasions when he came up to London and Camden. And he was just absolutely phenomenal to sit and have a coffee with and talk to about stories, the music industry, you know, the highs and lows, etc. Great guy, John Wetton. Okay, we lost them. Choose one musician who passed away in 2023. And I realised I've just left the album. I'm not going to pull it out. But for me, it was like a lot of other people, Robbie Robertson. And the album I was going to pull out was his debut solo album. And I loved it because of the first track called Fallen Angel. And funnily enough, it was the drumming of Manu Katché on it, which really caught my eye, this wonderful lyrical sort of drumming. And for any of the drummers, they'll know that Terry Bozzio, another great sort of Zappa alumni, plays on that album. It's just a wonderful sort of beautiful songwriting, great guitar playing, very varied. Somewhere Down This Crazy River was on that album, of course. But Robbie Robertson, and apologies for not pulling the vinyl. I knew I'd forgotten something. Imagine you could only listen to music from one country. Which country would you choose? Funny enough, I think a bit like Pete from Sounds from the West Coast. Of late, I've just been going down this deep rabbit hole of German progressive rock from the 70s, particularly keyboard duos and trios. And they seem to have a sort of a heritage and culture in that more than other countries. So it's been a really rich sort of scene to mine, if you like. But of course, for me, it's the UK because of really progressive rock, the really big names back in the 70s, which is fantastic for somebody like me. We did have jazz fusion, but really that came from America, but I'm sticking with the UK. Name 3 vinyl community channels that you discovered in 2023. Okay, I'm gonna just hold these up at the end. So first up is a really young guy in the States, goes by the name of Sorin Vinyl. He's got 861 subscribers, so he's doing very well. He's really into his psych from the 60s and early 70s. He seems to find some incredible stuff. He's really got a nice delivery, nice easy delivery, very enthusiastic. And in fact, he made a trip to London to a couple of record stores just down the road from where I am here actually, and was very excited to get some great psych from this particular one record shop. So that's Sorin Vinyl, Sorin Vinyl, young guy in the States. Number 2, fantastic channel, and I wish he had more subscribers, and he's in the UK. It's Bruce Vinyl. He's got 154 subscribers as we speak. Terrific guy. I think he's been going about 12 months. And the highlight for me is, I think he went with his family to Japan for a few weeks and did this wonderful sort of video diary. And of course, he went around loads of record stores. And I'd been to Japan probably 20 years ago. And been to Tower Records in Tokyo, which was huge and fantastic. And it was just wonderful seeing him go to these vinyl stores and sort of document it. I really like his sort of low-key delivery, and he's very knowledgeable he loves his jazz, so he gets lots of rare jazz stuff. But he's also into sort of folk, prog folk, that kind of stuff as well, and some sort of new wavy stuff. Great channel, Bruce Vinyl, do look him up. And the last up, and it might be more than a year actually, but I really like Richard Warwick, who's got 247 subscribers. I think he's switched a little bit more of late to doing, he does these where he buys record hauls online at auctions and sort of prints out the auction catalogue and what he's gone for and then flips through them. But again, nice, easy delivery, very knowledgeable guy. I think he likes his sort of heavy rock, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, that kind of stuff. But a great guy, Richard Warwick, check him out. And of course, I've just got to mention Rob Ison, who very kindly gave me a shout out, and people will know Rob. I mean, for me, funny enough, I'm not really don't overlap that much with him, but it's just so good seeing his passion for particularly the sort of the folk, the progressive folk areas. And of course, Roy Harper. I always like it when somebody just keeps showing a particular band or name, and I'm going to do it, because they just continue to get so much pleasure from one particular name, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a wonderful gift, I think, that keeps giving. So Rob Ison, but everyone knows Rob. Okay, so show a record you bought when you were a teenager. I went for something really odd here, left field. Carl Palmer, one of my favourite drummers, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. After Emerson, Lake and Palmer split in 1979, came out with this new wave poppy album called 1PM. It was an absolute disaster, barely sold. The tour, didn't happen. They played one TV show in Germany, and it was Carl's attempt to play really basically stripped back groove stuff, and it just didn't work. It's probably a little bit like something like The Cars. The lyrics are very cheesy. His drumming's good, but it's really stripped back. And there's some sort of jazz fusion players here, and they all really reined it in. And I think everyone was just very disappointed with this album. So that's 1PM by Carl Palmer. Okay, show a funk or soul record. I really struggled with this. I haven't really got a funk or soul record. So I've gone for a sort of jazz funk record, which is Alphonso Johnson. He was the bass player in Weather Report before Jaco Pastorius. This is his Yesterday's Dreams album. It's kind of fusion funk, but there's definitely some soul funk on there as well. Wonderful bass player. Show a record you think everyone has, then show a record you think nobody has. So again, I struggled a bit with kind of really well-known albums. So I've gone for Sting. This is the album I think everyone's got. I'm sure they haven't. But a kind of mainstream artist. This is a wonderful album. Got some great sort of jazzy fusion touches. So this is the one I think everyone at least knows or might have. Sting, Nothing Like the Sun. And the one that I think nobody will have, actually there's two here. So one is a bit of a strange story. Lots of people will have this. I wonder if anyone else has got this. So this is a sort of a twofer, double back as it's called. And it's In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson, everyone knows that, and Lark's Tongues in Aspic. However, side 2 of In the Court of the Crimson King, can you believe, is Status Quo. It's I can't remember the name of their album, but the whole side is Status Quo, and this was a misprint, and it is on Discogs. It's not especially kind of valuable, but it goes for some money. But for me, it's annoying actually, because I got it home and I thought I'll hang on to it because it might be rare. I bought it a long time ago, but actually, you know, I'm not really into Status Quo. So that's an unusual record that I think nobody else will have. But more kind of, is this album. This is John Heisman, drummer from Colosseum and Colosseum 2 and Paraphernalia, Barbara Thompson. And this is an album of 4 drum solos. So they're just drum solos. There's a little bit of music as he goes into the solos. It's called About Time 2. It's the drum solos 1985, signed by John Heisman and actually by Barbara Thompson. Really beautifully recorded album, but you've got to be into your drum solos. Okay. She's Great, a record by a female artist you bought in 2023. Just want to mention Michael Dawson from the vinyl community. He showed this and I bought it. It's Lisa Belladonna, Appalachian Wilderness. This is a Moog album. She's a virtuoso on the Moog modular system. Just see if there's a picture I can show you. Actually, I don't think there is. No, there isn't. But just wonderful. And she's very prolific. You can get all the stuff on Bandcamp. I got this from Bandcamp. But just great. It's Moog synths ARP 2600, Mellotron organ, string ensemble, Polymoog, gongs, chimes, wonderful synthesist, modern synthesist, Lisa Belladonna. The favourite video you posted on your channel in 2023 and the favourite video you watched on the VC in 2023. So my favourite video was probably one where I talked about this band, Trilogy, which is another German keyboard-dominated 70s progressive rock band, very obscure. And I bought their 2 albums. I managed to get them off Discogs, and ended up sending the video to the main keyboard player and writer, and he put it on his. They've got like a website stroke Facebook page, and he just put it straight on there and said, "Is it okay if I use it on my web Facebook page?" So of course I was absolutely delighted. In fact, we've been swapping emails for quite a while now, and he said to me he's going to be sending me some unreleased music. So wonderful sometimes when you get hold of artists directly. What was my favorite video watched in the VC? It'd be one of Rob Ison's. I just love it when he starts talking about Roy Harper. It's terrific. Just when he, it's the Roy Harper thing. It's great. It's absolutely wonderful. Okay, so show me a record you describe as a 90s classic. So I couldn't really find a 90s classic. So a bit of a cheat. This is Asia. This came out in 1990 when they were sort of trying to relaunch their career. And this is a sort of semi-greatest hits album. Half of it is new material. The other half is old material. But it came out in 1990, and it was a kind of a failed attempt, unfortunately, to kind of restart the band. It was without Steve Howe. So Asia, 1990, Then and Now. If I could walk into the cover, look through your collection and choose a record cover you'd like to be part of. I always loved this. So Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Works. This was the follow-up to Works Volume 1, 1977. They've been away a long time, came back with a much more kind of integrated orchestral sound. A lot of people didn't like it as much as the keyboard trio. But the reason I mention it, they did a promo video for Fanfare for the Common Man and did a lot of promo shots from, this is the Montreal Olympic Stadium, where they had the 76 Winter Olympics. And there was loads of these shots in the Olympic Stadium where they filmed the video. And I always just loved it. They all had these fur jackets. They looked like little dots in this monstrous stadium. And I thought it caught their music really well. Only ELP could sort of film in an empty stadium full of snow. Something very grandiose about it, but good to them. Emerson, Lake and Palmer Works. I'd like to be part of that cover. It's like a greatest hits. Show a record that you're so familiar with that it feels like a greatest hits. So this one is kind of like that for me. Weather Report, Heavy Weather. A lot of people will know this, particularly Birdland, which was a really big hit. This was a 500,000 seller, very unusual in jazz world, but it's just got so many great tracks. Teen Town, the Jaco Pastorius sort of bass led track. Havona, another fantastic track written by Jaco, and the beautiful lyrical romantic a remark you made, where Jaco weaves in this wonderful fretless bass line. But a lot of people will know that. Weather Report, Heavy Weather, and a great cover. Show me an album that was released in 1974. So I had to show this as well. This is probably my all-time favorite album, if I had to keep one album. So this is a treble live Emerson, Lake and Palmer album from 1974. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Even the title, of course, is long. It's It's fast, it's furious, it's grandiose, it's full of solos. It's ELP at their bombastic best. It's not a great recording, but it's really, really kind of exciting. And you sense at the end of it, they're just, as they often did, walking off stage, dripping sweat. And it was $4.99 back in 1974. I didn't get it in 74. I was a bit young then. And I used to pour over the back cover. I'll just show you the picture. It's a bit dark, you won't be able to see it. But again, wonderful picture of the band, gigantic drum kit, massive keyboard rig, fantastic. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and yeah, look forward to watching other people's videos and commenting. Take care, bye-bye.